Castlevania made its roots on gaming pillars, but not many of us ventured the roots. We are happy with the fruit itself. Now, let me take you down on Castlevania's roots. Castlevania all started back in 1986. It was known in Japan as Devil's Castle Dracula. It was for family computer and was ported to cartridge to be released for NES or Nintendo Entertainment System on May 1986. Count Dracula's castle emerges every 100 years. It is year 1961. A guy named Simon Belmont is tasked with defeating a vampire, and that vampire is Count Dracula. The very first soundtrack in the series was composed by Kinuyo Yamashita with Satoe Tarishima, which is her only score provided for the series. Castlevania was both her first project while employed at Konami and first composing experience. It is also one of her favorite works. She was credited as James Banana, a parody of James Bernard, the composer of 1958 film Dracula. Castlevania was released on 1986, but it was released on US in May 1987. That is actually the 90th anniversary of Bram Stoker's Dracula. Castlevania was actually inspired by classical horror films. In the early games, the enemies and bosses were tributes to the film Frankenstein and some other enemies like the skeletons and mummies. Nobody actually knows the real creator of Castlevania. Sure, there is credits at the end of the game, but it does not actually link to any of the said creator. During the 8-bit era, Japanese video game developers used pseudonyms. However, in the case of Castlevania, the credits did not even left a clue. One best guess is Hitoshi Akamatsu. Though he is not on the planet anymore, it appears that the original creator of Castlevania is hard to pin down as the Lord of Darkness himself. Surely playing Castlevania in one go and beating it is kinda sound impossible. Nonetheless, there was no other option. Well, if you got the American police, yes, there was no other option than that, but the original Japanese game for Nintendo Entertainment System featured the ability to save the game. The game has a floppy drive add-on. We all know that NES North America's censorship is strict. If they see any strong violence, sexual, or religious content, they'll surely ban those to be ported to Westerners. Somehow, Castlevania got around this Nintendo rule and was released to the other countries. I mean, the religious content on this is way too many to mention. Priests, crosses, and even holy water is a weapon. Well, at least it got out. If it didn't, I guess I'll have to learn Japanese to play Castlevania. Konami has weird obsessions with Easter heads. That's the stone head you see on the Easter Island. If you beat Castlevania and go for a second playthrough, you'll find a number of Easter heads throughout the game. They can be found in other Konami games as well. Sometimes we are fond of letting the game play the intro music, thinking like there are some trailers or story that will be told before we actually press start and play the game. This is the same case as Castlevania, where demos are played if you didn't press start. If you let it cycle through 3 demos and then start the game, you will play a game with no music. However, the music will resume upon reaching the boss. Dying will also remove this glitch.